Hey guys, Colonel Dracus here, trying out a new video format here. We're out here in the new hobby area, so let's start on a little video here and see how it goes. Recently went ahead and started another Crusade. Right now I'm still in the process of trying to get, I've got a bunch of video backlogs. I'm trying to get those out, so some of them may be a little bit more close together, just as I try to rapid fire, trying to catch up on getting videos out. But we started a new Crusade and I'm running Ad-Mech. So I've got the engine war book here because I've been using that a little bit, and just kind of wanted to go over real quick my first Crusade game. What do I got in my list? So right now we've got the Tech Priest engines here. Let's see if we can get that on the camera going. Tech Priest engines here there, and he's my warlord so far. Only HQ I've been using. We're only one game in though, so we'll see how that goes. Gave him I think it's the Omniscient Mask, so the Skatar units get reroll hits in close combat. And he's got one of the warlord traits here out of Engine War. Which one is it? It is called, forgive my memory here, Divinations of the Magos. So that one I chose because you get to pick one of three at the start of your turn, and it's basically reroll charge rolls for units within 6 inches, which is good because with the reroll hits, so that makes that a little bit easier. Roll one additional d6 within 6 inches of him for advance rolls and discard one. And then also models within 6 score an extra hit with an unmodified 6 when shooting. So that's our little warlord here. For our first troop choice, we've got a unit of 10 Rangers. Let's see if we can show that there on the overhead. So we got 10 Rangers. We've got 3 arquebus with these Rangers here, and just based on Crusade, you know, characters can be very important for your Crusade force. So thinking that with the 3 arquebus maybe being able to snipe out a character or two during the games, and hopefully give us a little bit of a competitive edge on that. Next unit that I was taking for a troop was a unit of 5 Vanguard. Let me see if I can pull these guys off their plate. We got 5 Vanguard with 2 plasmas. So these guys are going to be kind of important. They're able to kind of run up, be a little bit mobile, and throw some plasma fire downrange. Now the plasmas kind of have a teammate that they're going to be running with, which are the Fulgurite Electro Priests. These guys have the stabs. I really like them, kind of cool close combat unit. So these guys are kind of a little bit of a close combat punch there. And they're only a 5-man. I want more of them eventually. I only have the 5 right now, but hopefully eventually I could get more, maybe another 5 or 15 of them. I think you could run them in a unit of up to 20. So we'll see how that goes. But they're all currently running around in the transport. So we've got the transport. See that here on the overhead. So they're running inside of that. I did set up this transport so you could take the front off here. And then you could put the other front and top on, move this guy out, so you can use it as the gunship one. So I try to make it a little bit multi-use depending on what I was needing at the time. and so we'll see from there. So these guys are all together. Let's make sure that we've got all the guys here on the overhead, so they're all together. And our Crusade is only starting off games at 25 power level. We're going up 5 power level every week. So this was my first 25 power level that we're talking about here. Next unit that was actually pretty good was our Sicaran Infiltrators. Really like these guys with their flechette blasters, or flechette pistols. They're 5 shots each on the flechette rounds. So they could, sneak in, pop in real quick, put out 25 shots, and then they're able to, charge into a target. Because they are, I believe there's Skitarii, they get the rerolls from the relic that the Tech Priest has, as well as you could give them a +1 to hit. So that way their taser goads explode on a 5+ instead of just a 6+. So they've got a little bit of close combat punch. As far as number of attacks, they don't have any AP, but against orcs or something else like that, should be pretty good. I don't think anybody's really running anything like that in our Crusade. We've got one Tyranid player, and I think pretty much everybody else is like Marines at this point. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then I think our last unit, I just broke a pistol off of somebody, is the Sulphur Hounds, the dogs here. Thought these guys were pretty cool. So they're not painted yet. They're like my only unit I've got right now that isn't painted, because I got most of it painted in like the first week or so of the quarantine. So this is what I've got going right now. We did play our first game. Let's see if we can move some of this stuff up here. We did play our first game. It was against Tyranids, and it was actually really interesting. He brought more of a Nidzilla list. He had, what was it, Moloch, I want to say it was a Thornback Carnifex. It's like a shooty Carnifex. Let's see, 3 Tyranid Warriors, a Tyranid Alpha, an Alpha, and was that it? Or was there more? Oh, and some Rippers. So that's what I ended up facing. I kept the Infiltrators in reserve, and I had these guys in the boat. So really all I had on the board turn 1 was the boat, the 10-man unit of Rangers with the sniper rifles, the engine seer, and the dogs. And it was actually pretty interesting. It wasn't looking too good after the first turn, 2 turns. The Rangers were pretty much wiped out pretty quickly. Only got off, I think, 1 round of shooting with 3 of the arquebus. I think he killed 7 of the 10 Rangers turn 1 before I got to do anything. And so they didn't really last too long. I think they only put like 1 damage on the Tyranid Alpha. I knew I had to take him out first because he was buffing the Warriors. So they tried to go after him. The dogs ended up trying to go after the Warriors as well, try and take a center objective. I forget what mission exactly it was, but there were 3 objectives in the middle. So he was pushing up towards the middle with the Warriors and the Alpha, and his Carnifex went to one of the side objectives. So I left the Rangers kind of in my backfield, pushed the dogs up to the middle, and then the boat with the engine seer tried to go off to the side where the Carnifex was. I was kind of hoping he would end up killing my boat turn 1, so my guys could pile out and grab the objective for my turn 2 scoring. Didn't happen, so they weren't able to score turn 2. But what did happen is the dogs actually put a decent amount of work into the warriors. I think they killed 1.5, and I think the boat killed another 1. We finished off that second one, so there's only just 1 warrior left with the prime, Tyranid prime. I keep saying alpha, Tyranid prime. And so I was able to start putting some more shots into the prime, trying to take him out. Still didn't work. But after they were dead, and then the prime and warrior ended up charging the dogs, taking them out. The Carnifex was shooting at whatever he could shoot at, and then charged the boat. Didn't really do too much to the boat, which was fine. The Moloch popped up next to the boat and to the engine seer and did some mortal wounds to them. Still didn't kill anything. And then it was hammer time, so we disembarked from the boat 3 inches with our vanguard, and then moved them 6, so that way they went kind of past the Carnifex into a ruin, so that way they could try and get a charge in later, even if it was a little bit longer charge, because I wanted to take advantage of the -1 toughness that the vanguard do when they're within an inch of an enemy unit. And then I also disembarked the Fulgurite Electro Priests, because I needed them in close combat in order to kill the Carnifex. The shooting from the transport into the Carnifex in close combat didn't really do anything, but both charges went off into the Carnifex, very successful. We started with the Vanguard just to see if we could maybe chip a wound or 2 off of him, and then from there we just ended up killing him, I think, with mortal wounds from the Fulgurite Electro Priest, causing them to kind of supercharge, go a little bit better, and give them the 3-up invulnerable save. So they started off real hot there, and that same turn the infiltrators came in, and they kind of positioned themselves in between the other 2 objectives, the center and the one on the other flank. The opposite flank had the Ripper swarms on him, so he was claiming that objective, and then the center, of course, had the Tyranid prime and the warrior. So I ended up shooting the flechette pistols into the Rippers, ended up killing all the Rippers with the shooting, and then attempted to charge on the warrior, because he was going to be closer, and I didn't necessarily want to go into combat with both the warrior and the prime. So I went into combat with the warrior, failed the charge, spent a CP, re-rolled it, finally got in, and I think again we only did 1 or 2 wounds. So he was alive, he attacked back. I don't think he killed any, and then the next turn the prime piled in, and the prime and the warrior ended up killing a couple guys. We attacked back, didn't do anything, and I think we were left with like 1 or 2 of the infiltrators, so they weren't that impressive at the start. They were able to kill those 3 Rippers, which was nice because it took them off the point. And then from there, Moloch went back underground because they wanted to pop up another turn. And so the flank where the boat was, and the Vanguard and the priests were, and the engines here was empty of enemies now. So we left the Vanguard there on the objective to hold that, moving them up a little bit so we could try and get some shooting in. And the priests moved as quickly as they could along with the boat to try and get into that center group. So the last infiltrator that was there fell back in order to try and grab the far flank objective while everybody else was moving in. So we were able to make a charge with the boat and the priests into the warrior, killed the warrior in combat, killed the alpha, I believe, with shooting from the Plasma Vanguard. So we ended up having a full board at that point. We had all 3 objectives. Moloch popped back up on the next turn. Did mortal wounds to the boat and to the priests. Killed a couple, but then everything basically turned on the Moloch and locked him up into combat for a turn. And just think that next turn he stayed in, he fought because he couldn't go underground because he was locked in combat. And then we fell back, shot, and then killed the Moloch in shooting because I didn't want him doing his death throws and killing my stuff. Because every time you kill a unit in Crusade, you got to roll to see if they take battle scars or whatever. The second time he came up, though, he did end up killing the engine seer, so I did have to roll for the engine seer to see if it died, but it came out unscathed. So pretty successful turn 1 or game 1, Ad-Mech victory. We'll have to see how we go next week. We are trying to do the Book of Rust campaign, so I think our battlefield was -1 toughness from rad saturation. I was like, oh cool, rad saturation. Hopefully that doesn't affect Ad-Mech because we love radiation, but unfortunately it does. So good and bad, because it takes us down to toughness 2, but with the rad saturation from our Vanguard, we also subtract 2 toughness from the enemy, so that really hurts our opponents. And we try to make use of that now with the close combat, trying to pair the Vanguard with a close combat unit and go in at the same time to do that. The dogs also reduce toughness by 1. So just wanted to do a quick update with that. We did finish off the first Crusade with a big game. It was pretty fun. It was my World Leaders and the Death Guard versus 2 of the Death Watch players. And we ended up playing 50 power a person, so 100 power per side. And the funny mission was the Death Guard player and I were in the middle of the board. The Death Watch were on the ends coming in at us, and we just had to hold the middle as long as we could. If they held the middle with, I think, a warlord or a character or something at the end, they score like 90 points and they would have won. But man, that Lord of Skulls does the business. He kind of stood up in the middle and just ended up going off to one of the sides, one of the flanks, where the Death Watch player kind of split his guys on that flank, because there was a big castle kind of in the middle, splitting his deployment. So he kind of deployed on both sides of the tank there. And Lord of Skulls just went to one side, destroyed that, started going to the other side to see what he could do afterwards. But while the Death Guard were kind of taking care of the other Death Watch with their Plague Burst crawlers and Terminators and everything that they had. So ended up being a chaos victory for that first Crusade campaign, which was fun. I ended up getting put for this one. I ended up getting put on the chaos side again. It's more of like a Dark Mechanicus is what we're going with storyline wise, with some of the fallen Dark Angels. So like I said, we've got a lot of Marine players, Space Wolves, we've got Death Watch, the Dark Angels, I think one of the guys is playing Blood Angels, and then I think we've got a Sisters. Somebody's going to play Sisters, and I think somebody's going to play Astra Militarum, or the Guard. And then we've got, for Xenos Raiders, we have the Tyranids that I played, and then a Drakari army. So I think that's everybody that's playing. I'm not 100% sure. Don't necessarily have a solid roster yet. People may jump in, jump out. But that's where we're at right now. And hopefully I'll give you guys some more updates, and we work on painting these dogs, see what we could do to make sure that everything's fully painted, and then we need to finish up on the basing. So, but having some fun, looking forward to what's coming up. I was hoping to be able to do this before the new after the new Mechanicus book came out, but it got delayed. So we just had the Warhammer Fest finish up. Today is Sunday, so they announced the new pre-releases and still no Ad-Mech. So that may still be a month away at this point if they're doing releases every other week. A little disappointed in that. Happy because they did announce some vampire stuff. So, and we do have some vampires that we started again right before quarantine hit. So, hoping to see those and go from there. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe down below. Give me some comments. What do you guys think of the Ad-Mech? I'm hearing that they're going to be a good counter for Drukhari, because Drukhari have all the raiders, and just the volume of shooting that Ad-Mech have is a good counter. But again, I haven't played much with these guys, and I was actually very impressed with the units that I was able to use. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and happy hobbying.